Welcome to the Humanitarian Supply Chain Podcast, the first and only show that actually compares humanitarian aid and private sector supply chains using real cases, real field experience, and the kind of stories you'll never hear in a boardroom. If you are here for honest insights, field stories, and a few laughs at the beautiful mess we call supply chain, hit subscribe, keep listening, and leave a comment. Let's get started. Have you ever wondered how a single box of medicine can save thousands of lives in the aftermath of a disaster? Or how your favorite sneakers seem to magically appear on store shelves just when you want them? Behind every life saving delivery and every perfect time product launch lies a hidden world, a world of supply chains. It pulses with urgency, precision, and innovation. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on three critical supply chain models: push, pull, and call forward. These aren't just abstract concepts, they are the backbone of humanitarian relief and the engine of global commerce. By the end of this episode, you'll see how these models shape everything from disaster response to the way your favorite sneakers arrive at your doorstep. And more importantly, you'll discover what lessons humanitarian and private sectors can learn from each other to build a better, more resilient future. So buckle up because we are about to embark on a journey that spans continents, crises, and cutting edge technologies. Let's start with a simple question. Have you ever packed for a trip before checking the weather forecast? Maybe you stuffed your suitcase with sweaters only to arrive in the tropics. That's the essence of a push supply chain. Decision made in advance, based on predictions rather than real time demand. In a push supply chain, goods are produced or procured and then pushed downstream towards the customer or beneficiary, often without waiting for actual consumption signals. It's a model that dominates emergency preparedness. Relief agencies stockpile food, medicine, and shelter kits in regional hubs to ensure rapid deployment when crises occur. This approach saves lives, but it also carries risks like overstocking or misallocation resources. Let's jump to one example. UNICEF response to Cyclone Idai in Mozambique. It was in March 2019. Winds roaring at 175 kilometers per hour. The port city of Beira gone. Roads washed away. Power lines down. Municipal water systems collapse. Cholera outbreaks loom and food insecurity skyrocket. More than 1.85 million people, including 1 million children, are in crisis. How do you deliver clean water, food, and medicine when the entire infrastructure has wiped out? So, UNICEF had days of warning before landfall and they activated a push supply chain. They activated prepositioning supplies before Idai hit. UNICEF reviewed contingency stocks levels and confirmed local long term agreements for goods and logistical services to enable rapid procurement. Rapid mobilization. As soon as the storm passed, they shipped massive volumes of water purification tablets, wash kits, nutrition supplies, and emergency shelter materials into Mozambique without waiting for delayed need assessment. Global warehouse deployment. From its Copenhagen hub, the world's largest humanitarian warehouse, UNICEF dispatched 50 tons of emergency supplies within 72 hours, including cholera kits, tarpaulins, tents, and surgical instruments. This was pure push supply chain in actions. Supplies moved based on forecast, not confirmed requests. The priority was speed over precision. Flood the zone with life saving goods before cholera and hunger escalated. And they didn't stop there. When Cyclone Idai hit weeks later, UNICEF had already pre-positioned supplies in Cabo Delgado province. Let's look at the private sector. Push supply chains are common in industries with predictable demand or long production cycles. Picture the assembly lines of Ford Motor Company, a century old icon of industrial power. Robots hum, steel frames glide down conveyor belts. Thousands of parts come together to create a single car. But here is the question: how does Ford decide what to build before you even walk into a showroom? For decades, Ford relied on a push supply chain. That means vehicles were produced based on sales forecasts, not confirmed orders. Analysts studied market trends, seasonal demand, and economic indicators. Then factories went full throttle, pushing cars into dealership across the globe. Why push? Because automotive production is complex. It takes months to source parts, schedule assembly, and ship finished vehicles. Waiting for real demand would stall the entire system. So Ford bets on predictions, building inventory ahead of time to ensure cars are ready when customers arrive. But here's the catch: forecasts aren't perfect. A sudden economic downturn, for instance, a spike in fuel prices, consumer preferences shifting overnight, push systems can leave automakers with parking lots full of unsold cars, a costly mistake. That's why Ford, like many in the industries, is evolving. Today, they are blending push with data driven agility, using AI to refine forecast and digital platforms to track inventory in real time. Because in a world of uncertainty, speed matters, but so does precision. Now, close your eyes and imagine this. You are at your favorite restaurant, you order a meal, and the chef starts cooking only after you've made your choice. Fresh, tailored, no waste. That's the essence of a pull supply chain. If push is about prediction, producing goods based on forecast, pull is about precision. It waits for real demand, signals before acting. Think of it as ordering food only when you're hungry, not cooking a week's worth of meal just in case. Here is how it works. When a customer places an order, that signal travels upstream. Suppliers produce only what's needed when it's needed. Inventory stays lean, waste disappears, and every unit shipped has a name attached to it, a real person, a real need. Sounds perfect, right? But here's the catch: pull systems demand agility and robust information systems. You need real time data, predictive analytics, and lightning fast logistics. Because if you're slow, the customer walks away. Or, in humanitarian terms, the family goes hungry. Why does this matter? Less waste, no mountains of unsold goods, lower costs, no warehouse stuffed with excess stocks, better sustainability, fewer emissions, fewer resources wasted. But it's not easy. Pull works best when supply chains are short and responsive. In volatile markets or disaster zones, it's a high wire act. That's why many organizations blend pull with push, creating hybrid models that balance speed and precision. Pull systems shine in the recovery phase, unlike the push models where agencies flood the zones with whatever they think people need. Pull systems listen first. They respond to real demand, not assumptions. Here is how. Agencies create beneficiary lists, real names, real families, requirements, yeah? Then they order materials based on those lists: cement, timber, roofing sheets, whatever matches the design of the homes being rebuilt. No guessing, no warehouse stuffed with the wrong stuff. Okay, let's look into the Ebola response in West Africa. Picture this: A village in West Africa gripped by fear as Ebola cases rise overnight. Doctors and nurses are desperate for protective gear, medicines, and diagnostic kits. In a traditional push system, supplies would have been sent out in advance based on forecast, but forecasts often miss the mark in the fast moving crisis. So, what happened instead? A pull system. In the Ebola response, medical kits were pulled from regional hubs as case numbers surged. That means supplies were not scattered everywhere just in case. Instead, they were strategically stored in hubs, ready to move when the signal came, rising case numbers. This approach had profound effects. Speed and precision. Kids went directly to the areas experiencing outbreaks, not to places that didn't need them. Efficiency. Resources were not wasted on low risk zones. Then, resilience. Regional hubs acted as shock absorbers, ensuring frontline workers were not left waiting. Think of it like a fire station. You do not send every truck to every street before a fire breaks out, right? You wait for the alarm, then dispatch exactly what's needed. That's the pull system in action. Okay, we often talk about supply chains in terms of speed or precision. Push systems are about speed, sending supplies forward before anyone asks. Pull systems are about precision, waiting for demand signals before moving a single box. But what if the world needs both? That's where the call forward supply chain comes in. Think of it like reserving a hotel room. You've secured the space, but you only check in when you arrive. In the same way, call forward systems preposition supplies in strategic hubs, ready and waiting. But they only move when a verified call confirms demand. It's balance the readiness of push combined with the responsiveness of pull. This hybrid approach reduces waste, avoids bottlenecks, and ensures aid flows where it's truly needed. It's the middle ground between flooding the zones and waiting too long. In humanitarian operations, call forward systems emerged as a response to the limits of pure push strategies. Imagine warehouses stock near disaster prone regions. Supplies are staged close enough to move quickly, but they don't leave the hub until real time confirms the need. That means fewer wasted shipments, fewer mismatches between what's sent and what's required, and more dignity for communities receiving aid. Let's look at UNICEF's call forward for nutrition kits. Imagine a warehouse filled with boxes of nutrition kits, each one a lifeline for a child. Now imagine those kits sitting in a regional hub, not yet shipped, waiting for a signal. That signal isn't a forecast or guess. It's a verified assessment from the field confirming that children in a community are malnourished and need urgent support. This is UNICEF's called forward system in action. Call forward supply chains are about balance. Supplies are staged close to where they might be needed, but they only move when a call confirms demand. UNICEF applies this principle to nutrition kits. Kits are prepositioned regionally in strategic hubs. They remain in place until local assessment. And this local assessment conducted by health workers and partners, and then they confirm the needs. Once the call is made, shipments are released quickly, ensuring aid flows where it's truly required. For humanitarian supply chains, this system solves a critical problem, avoiding waste while staying responsive. If kits were pushed everywhere in advance, some would expire unused. If kits were held back until demand was overwhelming, children would suffer delays. Call forward strikes the balance readiness without waste, responsiveness without chaos. UNICEF approach ensures dignity and efficiency. Communities don't receive supplies they don't need, and frontline workers aren't left waiting when malnutrition spikes. UNICEF's call forward for nutrition kits teaches us that the smartest supply chains don't just move goods, they move at the right time, to the right place, reason and for the right reason. In humanitarian crisis, that balance can mean the difference between wasted resources and saved lives. Manufacturers use call forward to balance efficiency and responsiveness. It's common in industries where components are expensive or bulky and demand fluctuates. Picture this: a hospital pharmacy shelves lined with life saving drugs. But here is the twist: those medicines didn't arrive by chance. They were shipped only when the hospitals said, "We need them now." In the pharmaceutical industry, drugs are often manufactured in bulk. But instead of flooding hospitals with inventory, companies use a call forward approach. Hospitals send requisitions, and only then do shipments move. Why? Because in healthcare, timing isn't just efficiency, it's survival. Too early, and drugs expire unused. Too late, and patients suffer. The call forward system ensures the right medicine reaches the right place at the right time. This approach reduces waste, cuts costs, and keeps supply chain lean. It also prevents shortage during crisis because resources aren't locked in unnecessary stockpiles. Think about the pandemic. Hospitals needed flexibility, not warehouses full of wrong drugs. Call forward systems made that possible. Here is the takeaway: whether it's cars or capsules, the principle is the same. Respond to real demand, not forecast. In life, we often prepare for everything just in case. But what if we focused on what's truly needed when it's needed? The pharmaceutical call forward system reminds us that precision saves lives. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters exactly when it matters. Because in healthcare, time isn't everything, is the difference between life and death. So, what have we learned today? Whether it's the speed of push, the precision of pull, or the balance of call forward, supply chains are more than just logistics. They are lifelines. They are the invisible threads that connect hope to action, need to response, and innovation to impact. In humanitarian crisis, the right supply chain model can mean the difference between chaos and coordination, between waste and dignity, between life and death. In the private sector, these models drive efficiency, sustainability, and customer satisfaction. But here is the deep lesson: supply chains are not just about moving goods, they are about moving at the right time, to the right place, for the right reason. They are about listening, adapting, and learning. They are about people, families waiting for food, communities rebuilding after disaster, customers searching for the perfect product. So, the next time you see a relief truck on the news or pick up a product off the shelf, remember, behind every delivery is a story of anticipation, agility, and timing. Thank you for joining me on the Humanitarian Supply Chain Podcast. I am Irina Lukyanova and hope you found the types of supply chain in humanitarian and private sector insightful. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, or share it with a friend. Have questions or ideas for the future topics? Reach out on social media or email. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay curious, stay resilient, and remember, the world runs on supply chains, and so does hope.